extend on behalf of all of us our deepest condolence to a number of lives, precious lives lost today in our state in an accident in a fireworks factory. We pray that the departed soul meets the divine, injured recover fast, and the families of the bereaved get the strength to bear with the loss. Friends, we are assembled here on a very special occasion, the release of the complete works of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji, 15 volumes. And for this, I offer my deepest respect to Dr. Mahesh Chandra Sharma and his team for doing this monumental work, compiling the works of this great, one of the greatest and the tallest thinker of the world of the 20th century, who under the adverse circumstances, with his original thoughts, did so much that holds a very bright promise for us, for our future, a bright future. Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay's integral humanism is something which is without intellectually being conscious of it, is something that we live in our day-to-day life. Every Indian, every Bharatiya, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and Kutch to Kamrup, in the day-to-day life, the way we conduct our affairs, in our personal affair, in our collective affairs, it reflects that deep thought which several thousand years ago our rishis had revealed during the time of the Vedas. The one creator, Parameshwara, who had created the entire creation and is present in every element of it. This Atmavata Sarvabhuteshu. Every being is like myself, is a reflection of myself. This universal oneness, which was revealed by our great rishis several thousand years ago, a unique wisdom, all-inclusive, unparalleled, with a stunning, if one calls it intellectual intensity, perhaps it even transcends that. 1,000 years of slavery. And it debilitated our self-confidence, our understanding into an extent that it became a tragic irony that a civilization of several thousand years ago began borrowing the ideas of the one which didn't have even 300 to 400 years of history. Yes, their material advancement in modern science and technology, industrial revolution, and the power, the material power that it gave, material and military power that it gave, it actually dazzled the world. And we thought that everything about them is superior to us. And we started borrowing whatever they dished it out, howsoever absurd it might be. But we very obediently, unquestioningly began following that. And those ideas are responsible today for the problem, the existential crisis that the world is facing today. And even in India, we are facing this problem. At the time when British left us, look at the number of castes, number of tribes that we had. And look at the number of castes and tribes that we have today. It has gone up many times. New and new identities are coming up. New and new. We never knew there was something called Dravidian and Aryan. But British conspiracy and their Indian compatriots, they put together, it became a point of division. In this state, our own state, a beautiful state, we have 25 million people who don't feel that they wholeheartedly, they are accepted here. They call themselves linguistic minority. They are now fighting case in Supreme Court for recognition of their language, because they are not allowed to teach their own mother tongue in their own schools. Now imagine before 1956, before the reorganization of this Madras state, what was the situation? They were people of this place. We were all together. But then the division, subdivision, and further subdivision, keeps dividing to an extent that in our own place, the place where we have been there for last centuries and centuries, suddenly this place becomes as if we are a migrant. They tell me, in fact, some Telugu people, some Malayalis and Kannadiga people, they tell me, sir, we are migrant. I say, migrant? When did you come? Oh, sir, our 4 long back great-great-grandparents, they came maybe about 300 years ago or 400 years ago. And so you are migrant. Now imagine, this place, you have several thousand Zoroastrians, thousands and thousands and lakhs of Marathis, people of all description, all hues, people of this country didn't know that they didn't know any such barrier. They moved from one end to the other. They lived without any restrictions. It was one Rashtra. But this new ideas, the Western ideas of a modern state, and Western ideas based of rights, and rights based on numbers based on your identity based on who you are, and start finding the differences. I was in Nagaland. People there, everyone, by and large outside people say that there are 16 tribes in Nagaland. Actually, when you go there, one tribe, if you start looking at difference, has more than 30 sub-tribes, and no two are in dialogue with each other. Where if you start looking at this in terms of differences, hundreds of us, we are all different. Let us follow our own path. This has done colossal amount of destruction, damage to us. The result is, today, the world is facing crises like climate crisis, wars, invisible wars everywhere, acute poverty, unacceptable inequity, unstable equilibrium, unacceptable accumulation of weapons of mass destructions. There are many countries which have nuclear weapons capable to destroy this earth many times over. One accident, one fluke somewhere, and the world is gone. So it's a very, very unstable equilibrium that we are living in. These are all thanks to the Western ideas which have divided and subdivided the people, the society. When I look at our own country, I find that the four ideas have done the maximum damage, four Western ideas. One is the Western theology that believes in anthropocentric view of life, that humans are at the center of creation and the rest of the creation is for the pleasure of it. And this has resulted into conflict between humans and the environment, the nature. And we are paying the price, and more price we are yet to pay. And we will pay if we don't change our ways. Idea of society as a social contract. You know, what is all this social, economic and political thoughts? They are rooted in our belief, our understanding of the self and the society, the individual and the collective. What is an individual and what is collective? In the Western thought, individual is an autonomous, independent, sovereign unit. Individual is sovereign, and some individuals and number of individuals got together. There is no historical account of it. Nowhere, by no stretch of imagination, is going to prove. But they believe that there was a contract. People, they came together and contracted to live together. Wonderful. How weird this idea looks like. But then we have blindly imitated. And look at it in our colleges, universities, they are taught. Rousseau's social contract theory. When they say that before this, we were in very nasty, brutish condition. Hobbes said, life in nature was nasty, brutish and short. So they needed a strong Leviathan, a strong, powerful state to control this. Out of fear, out of control. Social contract, individuals. So when you say that individuals constitute the society and they are the primary stakeholders and individuals are sovereign, obviously it leads to individualism, that the individual's right have to be protected. Individual's autonomy, to what extent? No one knows, it keeps changing. This individualistic view of life, of society, it has created so much of problem. You know, we are all, look at this, individual, together they constitute the society, there's no doubt about it. But then, so is the case with atom. It's the atoms that come together and constitute the molecules. Let us say, do we say that no, hydrogen atom and oxygen atom, they have decided to come together and form the water? I mean, this is absurd logic. That okay, they decide that they choose to form a contract and so the molecule is born. Every atom has autonomy within the limit of that whole. And if you look at the atom, it is a micro solar system. We all know that our solar system, how it is, so is the atom. Atom is a reflection of a solar system. So this micro containing the reflection of the macro, and that is how the whole universe creation is made. But no, when we start looking the world from the perspective of each individual, each atom, this atomized view of life, of society, which has caused all the destructions, which is causing all the destructions. There was another great intellectual, Karl Marx. Karl Marx also believed in individualism, individual's growth. Of course, he believed in a different format. And he said the society, all the institutions are there to curb the individual, so all the institutions must be demolished, be it family, be it society. He didn't believe in all this. Because family restricts the growth of an individual. Wonderful idea. You know, this kind of ideas, and which people, this may be a good construct as a designer, as a carpet designer weaves a good design, looks beautiful. You can intellectually carve out a good argument. It may look beautiful, a design, but it's not a beautiful life. It's not the reality. You may give a wonderful argument, cogent, logical, but we know that logic leads many ways. Naisa tarkena matirapaniya. That is what our even Upanishad says. Logic doesn't lead you to truth, it doesn't lead you to peace and happiness, that doesn't lead you to harmony. It leads to chaos. And that gentleman who created a model where society was neatly divided into have and have nots, and the two will be in a perpetual war, conflict. Keep fighting. I mean, as if there is no grey in between. Even if you... The fact is that there is a relative poverty, relative richness, but have and have nots are neatly divided in his model, mathematical model, and the two are in perpetual conflict. And that conflict is inevitable according to him. And eventually that will lead to a state where a stateless society, first is the state to be autocratic, and then a state itself will wither away. Very idealistic, fantastic. But it's a fantasy, fantastic fantasy, nothing beyond. But this gentleman also did something wonderful and something dangerous. In 1852, he also wrote a number of essays in New York Daily Tribune. He wrote a number of essays justifying the British Empire in India. He said, it was in August 1852 that he wrote almost 20 articles. The theme of all the essays was that, well, I am opposed to imperialism, but in India it is a historical necessity. In India it is a historical necessity. Why? Because in India, society is very conservative, very suffocating. It doesn't let an individual to grow. Individual doesn't have the opportunity to fully blossom. The genius of the individual cannot blossom fully. And a society that worships cows and monkeys have no right to exist. So, the British Empire, which is a historic necessity in India, have two tasks. One, total annihilation of India's social order. Destroy the society. And number two, lay the foundation of Western material civilization. For Karl Marx, human beings were moving hydrocarbons. Nothing beyond. All our emotions, everything is a chemical reaction. But that impacted us, and that is impacting even today. There are still people who are, well, quite beholden to him. And the fourth is, I look at it from my perspective, when I look at it, is Charles Darwin. Darwin, a wonderful guy who says humans have come from monkeys. And it is taught in classes, schools, colleges, everyone believes, not everyone, but those who are, most of the people believe in it. Because he found certain pattern in the skeletons of the creatures, he said that the evolution happened through this, and finally humans evolved from the monkeys. And he gave a doctrine, survival of the fittest. The survival of the fittest gives moral justification to mercantile capitalism. If you are strong, by hook or by crook, you must be strong, you must prevail. Weak is destined to perish. There is no element of compassion in Darwin's theory. Darwin took humans to the level of the animals. And we believed in that. Now these ideas are still prevailing in our country, still in our academia. People, they discuss, they talk, they read. Our students, they read, they write in the examinations, questions are asked. Even when I find in the political, even the UPSC aspirants, when they study the paper in political science, they read the philosophy of Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, all the social contract. Life in nature was nasty, brutish, short. My question, when actually Gurumurti said that it was, how could such a person be there? My question would be, why didn't we have such persons, many more such persons? In this country which believes in universal oneness, which is our Sanatana Adhyatma, which is not only that, it also accommodates different perspective, different views. When our rishis told, Eko sada vipravauda vadanti, various forms, various expressions, fine, perfect, you have your own way of experiencing it or expressing it. Perfect. Look at this. Time of Rishabdev, Syadvad. Syadvad, what a wonderful idea, what a wonderful philosophy. No human can have a 360-degree view of anything. You have only a drishtikon, not the comprehensive samagra drishti. And when you have, you may be right. That is what Syadvad. But possibly you may be. So even if your adversary tells you something which is not tuned to your idea, perhaps you try to see some merit in that. Maybe, he may be right. She may be right. Now these wonderful ideas can generate only in this country. Could have generated in this country. This great country. When we know that when India became independent, when the British left us, Rishi Aurobindo had jotted down dreams for India. There Rishi Aurobindo says on the 15th of August 1947 that in the entire universe, Earth is the only evolutionary planet. This is the only planet where consciousness is in the process of evolution, there is life. And on this planet, unique planet, Bharat is the only country where several thousand years ago, this wisdom was revealed that this consciousness is one with billions of manifestations. Universal oneness of creation, which does not exclude anyone, not only humans, animals, plants, everything. Even in inanimate, the consciousness is in a dormant stage. So Rishi Aurobindo said, and look at his time. His time was a very devastating time. That was the time when also of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyaya ji, when the world had witnessed two devastating world wars. Millions and millions had perished. World had also witnessed unprecedented destructive power in the hands of humans, atomic weapon. World was divided, fighting with each other, armed with immensely destructive power. What was the fate of humans, humanity? Rishi Aurobindo wondered, was it self-destruction? And then he said, no, it is not. We have to evolve to the higher level, the next level of consciousness, where this becomes a sahaj gyan. When I start seeing in all of you as myself, without any effort. That stage once it comes, the differences drop. We are all one. We are one part of a family. We are like leaves of a tree. There are million leaves of a tree, thousands of twigs and branches. Each leaf is unique. No two leaves are alike. Each twig and each branch is unique. No two branches are alike. And yet, away from the tree, it has no existence. It is all a part of one. It's like waves in the ocean. When we go and stand at the beach, millions of waves come. No two waves are alike. But waves come and finally meet. It's the ocean. That awareness was there among us. Among our rishis had given us this wisdom. And that is what is called Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Which is, here we say, Yadu Mure Yavarum Kele. Which is the motto of our G20 presidency. Today, country, we know, we are moving forward with these ideas of oneness, one family. The globe is a family, the world is a family. It's not just shared future, it is a one future. It's not a shared interest, we have a common interest. This is a part of Kutumbam. With this sense, today our country is moving. But when Rishi Aurobindo, he jotted down the dream, he said that why is it happened only in Bharat? that this idea, this knowledge, this wisdom was revealed. Why was it? Why was it not revealed in any other part of the world? He says it was not a coincidence. It was not a chance. It was a divine wish. And so, Bharat has a divine obligation to spread the light across the world. The light of oneness, light of your whole family. This is a divinely mandated obligation, duty of Bharat. And for this duty to perform, Bharat must be strong. And must be strong not just militarily, economically, but must also be strong as a one family. And here comes the teachings and works of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji, when he says, we are all one. We are a part of a family. Ekatma, integral humanism. You may explain it in many ways in intellectual discourses. Essentially it boils down to this. Avibhaktam vibhaktesu tadgyanam vidhisatukam. What Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Indivisible looks divided. This is our essence. This is essence of even Ekatma Manav Darshan, which Pandit Deen Dayal ji has given to us. I would expect, I would wish, and it is our duty also to give a wider currency to the work of Pandit Deen Dayal ji. It has to be a material, a course material in our universities. In the abridged form, it has to be taken to the schools. Because this is our Bharatiya Darshan. This is our way to look at. This is how we look at ourselves and look at the society. Our view, our drishti of the self, individual, and our drishti of the society are integral. The two are not different. And this drishti, literature about this, more and more literature have to be created. Maybe we have to commission, and it should be, more and more research scholars should work on him. Because what Pandit Deen Dayal ji did is not, it doesn't end with this 15 volumes. These works, each of these have to be done, more and more research have to be done, have to be expanded in a contemporary context. He has already contemporized it, but it has to be in the local context, it has to be explained in new situations, because we all live in a dynamic situation. Today is not yesterday, and tomorrow will not be today. So it has to be kept updated. More and more research have to be done, more and more research scholars have to be committed to it. And we have to encourage more and more research on the indigenous, the Indian Bharatiya Jnana Paddhati, which is fundamentally different from the European epistemology, European Jnana Paddhati. And there only, by this only, we can keep the idea of Bharat as a Rashtra, Bharat as a political state, and Bharat as a Rashtra. Unfortunately, the notion of Bharat as a political state has overshadowed the Bharat as a Rashtra. It has weakened the concept of the Rashtra. We have to reclaim it, regain it, for the good of our country, for the good of Bharat, and for the good of the world. This is a responsibility that we have to take it forward. And once again, I thank you, Dr. Mahesh Chandra Sharma ji and his team for delivering to us a very wonderful book, compendium of work of Deen Dayal Upadhyay ji. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.